Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, with the counts, and we're going to show you the fish counts here in just a few minutes, so don't get too far. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. With the counts changing on the Columbia and really conditions changing, there was a massive push of fish through the lower section of the Columbia, below Bonneville, of course, making their travel over the dam itself. It went from 4,000 and change to very well into the 5 digits, and again, we'll get there in a second. We've talked about the dead zone quite a bit here in the last couple of weeks, folks asking why that name, what zone is it in? And I've mentioned what I consider to be the dead zone is that I-5-205 area up to Bonneville. Because those fish can come through literally in numbers 15, 20, 25,000 in a day. Watch your screen just be full all day long and only see a couple of fish get caught. Hence the term the dead zone, right? Well, that kind of happened to me on Tuesday. Definitely saw a lot of fish moving, right? You'd be on a nice group of fish and then all of a sudden your screen would go blank. So they're just covering ground very, very quickly. With the way the wind was this week, and I'll elaborate a little bit more on that to my Thursday plan, which was unfortunately blown out, but we'll get there. Tuesday, I did okay. Had 3 bites, a small wild silver, a tule, both of which released, and then another one that was hooked that was a good one. And how the heck they spit little mooching rigs, you know, with 3/0 hooks on there. Spinning fish for me was what got all my bites for me on Tuesday. A lot of folks were doing the same thing, but a lot of spinner fish. And if I don't mention the folks wobbler fishing down there around the Klamath-Lewis area, wow. There were some reports coming from down there that were phenomenal, and that's absolutely what should happen. Those fish in those cold water areas generally bite a little bit better. They'll generally hold up a little bit better, and then when they get further up, again, towards that I-5-205 area, they just turn on the afterburners and fly up above Bonneville, which can make for difficult fishing. But down lower in those hog lines with the wobbler bite, I would call that probably the best bite that I heard of this week. Folks that were on the wobbler up higher in the dead zone also did okay. For everyone else, like myself, that was trolling, it was not bad fishing by any means. There was just a lot of fish around. But again, with as many fish that were going by, not a lot of fish got caught overall. But there were some boats that did really, really well. And some will ask, well, what makes those boats different from everyone else? It could be anything. It could be depth, location. Maybe they were in a spot where the grass wasn't horrible. Scent, I mean, there's just a number of different things that can come into play where one boat can be much more productive than, say, another several. And the red boat, you know who you are, was that boat, at least on Tuesday. One guy just smoking them. It is what it is. But next day that I wanted to get out there on Thursday, that east wind was blowing 35 miles an hour, and trust me, where I wanted to go, that was not an option. And the grass started to get really bad. So getting blown off and not having to deal with the grass the way that at least it was looking, I didn't feel too bad. But that wind got brutal, and it doesn't look like that's going to be that way the next handful of days. Now remember, if you've been fishing down lower, the Buoy 10 area, no matter where, there are different days and different closures for different zones. And I'm not going to be the idiot on the other side of the TV screen getting you in trouble. Pay attention. Go and look at the dates where everything closes, from the Buoy 10 area, Tongue Point up to Warrior Rock up to Bonneville, Bonneville up to the Dalles. All these things you need to look at to make sure that those are open and what species is or isn't open. Because there will be a closure where there will be no Chinook and it's only silvers. And, you know, these are things that you have to pay attention. They do not make it easy on us by any means, unfortunately. But it just is what it is. Let's go ahead and put up the fish counts if we can, give you an idea of what's going on over there at Bonneville. And we're not going to have the 10-year average for you, but if you saw that last weekend when we showed it, we are absolutely right on that last year and 10-year average as far as the bounces go. So you can see it went from the 4,700. We were talking about that bounce was coming, and you can see it just slowly progressed to 28,000 to 22 to 15. So big spike, and then of course it drops back down. This is where you'll see those fish make that initial massive movement over the dam. And that all is water temperature, timing. It's just the 10-year average. It's very, very consistent. That's the reason why we pay attention to it like we do. Now that it's dropping down, It's not that there are less fish, it's there's more of them that'll be holding, well, in theory, more of them that'll be holding below Bonneville before they make their next big push over the dam. So does it make for better fishing? In my opinion, in the dead zone, it does, just because those fish will hang out as opposed to just flying through the system and having just a really short window at getting them to bite. Again, this is all theory, but we've seen it long enough. I'm pretty comfortable in it. So hopefully those numbers will kind of stabilize, because in that 10-year average, this is exactly what they do. And then in another week, we should see another spike as these fish either keg up and then decide to go, or we get another warming trend, which I think we're in the middle of now. We'll see how things kind of play out. Let's go ahead and take a look at river levels. Vancouver, again, everything is based on tide right now. The water is very, very low overall. Based on these tides, I was actually getting a pretty good outgo on the incoming tide, where I did think, again, on Thursday, going downriver from where I was initially going and just dropping the anchor and running wobblers. There was certainly enough current on Tuesday on that on the incoming tide to do so, and folks were having some success. But again, you need to play the tides, and really a lot of that falls into what area of the river you're in. The lower in the system you are, the more that tide's going to affect what the water conditions are actually going to be. So kind of just keep that in mind. All right, also don't forget, we love to go out and play some golf. The CCA, one of our sponsors here at Outdoor GPS for well over a decade now, they have an upcoming tournament on the 7th, and I'm not sure where it's at though, unless I'm just totally missing it, but it's coming up. If you're a member of the CCA, go hang out with everybody. If you're not a member of the CCA, go over there and hang out with them. Just see what's going on, meet some folks that you may not have met before, and maybe it'll give you a reason to join the CCA, because we could use your help. We all could use your help, so could the salmon. All the fun that we love to have out there, the CCA is behind helping us out in a number of different ways, along with so many other groups. But this is their tournament that's coming up, and if you're like me and you like to play a little golf, I'll be playing on the 9th. Hopefully I can still hit the ball. But as you know, things can be interesting when you're trying to do that. Procure, make sure you send my buddy Jason an email, jason@procure.com. We do a giveaway each week. We thank them for doing that. And every Monday, they send out who that winner is. And I can tell you, back to the desk, you said? Absolutely, you're going to need it. Because as things start to progress, as we start getting more into that transitioning from Chinook fishing to silvers, I think that scent is something that always comes into play. And if you can get it for free, do so. Look, can we go ahead and check in with Katie Suniga and find out how the weather is going to go this upcoming week, hopefully? Things are going to cool off a little bit today. From what I understand, it's going to be pretty darn hot out there. We'll see how things pan out.
A little behind the scenes, I had some technical difficulties, so if you'd have seen, I was just running across the studio to try and get back here.
Yeah, we're all hustling around. It's okay. That's what live television is for. Katie, we all know that it got hot the last couple of days, and it looks like today is going to be really hot.
Today is the peak of our heat wave. We're looking at like upper 90s to triple digits for some of us, especially in the gorge, and like those of us who get impacted by that east wind. We still have another hot day on tap for you tomorrow, and then we have a brief respite, and then we heat back up again. So let's take a look at the day today. This is what we have for you for that first alert weather day. So a hot afternoon. Temperatures will be warmer than yesterday. We're looking at getting into the mid-upper 90s to low triple digits for some of us. The gorge, triple digits on the east end especially, into maybe 105 at the most. Not as much wind today, which means it'll be slightly more humid, and so the humidity will be higher, the temperatures will be higher, and then tomorrow a little cooler, but still a very hot day. Tomorrow will not be a first alert weather day. This is that upper level pattern that we talk about all the time, that we watch to see how things are going to be impacted, and we have the warm atmosphere that's been with us, stays with us into tomorrow, and then now once we get into Monday, this low pressure moves across across, but very quickly, because here's the next ridge that comes in behind it and warms us back up. We are looking at a couple of 90-degree days, but not another heat wave. And right now it does not look like we have any triple digits, but of course that could change. This is what your day looks like today. Blazing hot. Again, you'll notice in the Dalles there through the Portland metro, that's the hottest areas. And then that east wind could make it to the coast for the north end, which gives you upper 70-degree temperatures. Then we do have a chance for some showers on Monday. If you watch here, you'll notice that we start to have some onshore flow. And then once we get into Sunday night, overnight into Monday, there it is. There's your cloud cover and your chance for some drizzle. But it's not much. It's only a couple hundredths of an inch. You'll notice just a bit, not much there, but maybe Monday morning into Monday afternoon, maybe 300ths of an inch at most. 7-day forecast only shows the one day, Labor Day, where we see cooler temperatures and a chance for drizzle. And then the rest of the forecast is above average and turning hot again by midweek. Okay,
I'm over it. Okay. It's the 1st of September tomorrow, of course, but yeah. I'm good with seeing some cooler temperatures. That rain on Monday, can it actually be anything substantial?
No, it's just a very, very weak low pressure. So it's just going to cool us down with some cloud cover, and you'll see a sprinkle here or there, but not much.
Very good. Thank you very much, Katie. We'll see you in the morning. For me, when I'm taking a look at that, it seems like every single year, September 1 comes around, that's the opener for doves. And what happens when it rains and it's dove season? They move. And we always hope that fresh ones are going to come in, but it never seems to happen. But if it's not going to be raining that hard on Monday, I might still be able to get in on them. All right, everyone stay with us. We got a special one coming up for you. We have Sandeep Nan and a couple of the guys from Fisherman's Marine here in the studio. We're going to talk about, well, 1 year in, right? Sandeep's now been the owner for a year. How are things going? How is he liking how things are going? And what we might expect as we go forward. So stick with us here on KPDX. We'll be back with more Outdoor GPS.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.